Yeah, Planning Commission sent their recommendation to council for approval. At our request, we asked that Planning Commission review a few of the code sections we were having issues with. One of it was the different tables, like the residential table and the commercial table and the industrial table. Their categories kind of show different than the all-in-one table. And we wanted to get these tables to all reflect each other. So if it was permitted in a business district, then the table that shows all of them would also show what it's supposed to do in the business district. Same thing with the residential. And then there was a few things that was either missing or needs definitions or has some repetitiveness. With the some of the residential care things, there was things like a group care facility or a group care category 1 or category 2. This wasn't defining what kind of group care this was, whether it's a commercial type or a home-based type. And so we wanted some new words, definitions put into this to give some clarity to it. So like a group care facility, we wanted to make sure that this kind of has a, the understanding that this is a, like a business commercial type facility. Group care category 1 and category 2, we have some definitions in this, and this is a something that would be done in someone's home. So we wanted to make sure there's clarification on the table that it's a group care home versus a facility, commercial place. Another thing was a type A and B family care. There was nothing in the residential section of that chart that even mentions a type A and B family care. It mentions a family care or a child care. The all-in-one table was the only place where you saw something for a type A and B family care. And a type A and B is something that belongs in a home. It doesn't belong in commercial districts. And there was nothing in our residential part that addresses the at-home family care type A and B. It did show that it is permitted in the E-business district, and that, I believe, would be something where we still have a lot of homes in our E-business district, and these homes would be suitable for a type A and B home care for someone that still lives in these homes. And we also thought that the D multifamily district would be a suitable place for it. And we also address these as they would still be conditional uses, so at least within the D area, and so with any of these home cares that are in a residential area, they still would come before Planning Commission, and their situations would be heard to make sure it's not affecting other neighbors. The last item with these charts had to do with vehicles maintenance. We had automobile repair and vehicle repair, both major and minor. And we saw this as just a duplication of what the business would be, and we feel like there needs to be some clarification with that. So we do have a definition in our book for vehicle repair. So we would like to see the automotive word be stricken out of that and just use vehicle, since we have the definitions for vehicle repair, major and minor. And instead of, eliminating areas out of the chart, the duplication we would have as one category as commercial vehicle repair, and the other one would be like residential, smaller vehicle repair. So we have some clarification and definition between the two, and where those would be located at. So, like I said, with the charts, we have existing charts and proposed charts. And the purpose of these charts is to make sure they all reflect each other and all say the same thing. So you look at a residential chart, it says one thing, and you look at the all-in-one chart and it says something else. We want to make sure it all says the same thing. The last item on there was our 1155.128, had to do with sign inspections and maintenance. When the zoning ordinance was established, they referenced Hamilton County did the inspections and had the authority with permits. So we just wanted to clarify that section and strike the word Hamilton County out of it and have Mount Healthy in place of that in all those locations. Is there any questions on any of this?
No questions, council?
I have one under vehicle repair. So when I look at this, this is 155.08. It says schedule of district uses, proposed uses names.
Yes.
So for vehicle repair, we don't have anything that's able to be in a residential area, it looks like to me. It's all dashes down there.
Correct.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. So we're saying, yeah, you can't,
No houses that can do that then?
Houses are not supposed to be doing it, no.
okay.
Unless they're, for some reason, they got a variance for like a home occupation, in the past. That would, if there is something, we would have to check in on it.
Okay. And then,
That's as a business, I mean, a person can work on their car.
Yes,
Yes.
correct.
Yeah.
you just can't work on 6 other people.
Yeah, they can.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a business working on cars. Charge Keisha.
So, and then the other question I have is up in the healthcare and social assistance.
Yes.
It says under group care, that's Cat 2, which is, or Category 2, which is 5 or less people in a house, right?
Yeah,
Okay,
yes.
okay. And I'm not sure I understand what the red C is under residential D means.
Anything in red in the charts is what we are proposing to change.
Okay,
So originally, the Category 1 and Category 2 was not permitted in any residential area. However, a Category 1 and a Category 2 is a home-based care. So that's why we feel like there should at least be a residential district that should allow this. The red C it would still be by conditional use.
Right,
It's not a
okay.
permitted use. Now, there was like, group care home Category 1, which we changed to, group care center facility. It was a permitted use in the E district, and we would like to see that as a conditional use, so it would still be reviewed by Planning Commission and Council for a group care business that is within the E business.
okay, and just as an example, that would be, can you give me an example in Mount Healthy where there might be something like that in a business area?
I'll just use an example of, say, the church over here that's actually in the CBD district, but But I'm just using it for that building
Sure.
as an example. You know, they have a section that is kind of situated like a school, where I think they used to, they have daycare for Sunday school, and they also, in the past, had a small school there at the church. Someone may want to come in and convert the building to a group care facility where people can register with them, they can have multiple beds, almost like an apartment building, and they will have these facilities for, to take care of people in need.
Okay. So I think we have two, like, homes or something down on Affinity Place. Is that correct? Multiple? Is that?
Yes.
How do those fit? Because that's business, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Was that a conditional? I forget if.
I think the one on Affinity went through, I think, a zoning variance.
Okay.
Through that, because
Okay.
that was a PUD set up
Yes.
for office business.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
That's what, yeah, PUD, that's what I remember is. Okay. But 6 to 15 people in a residence, that's
It's a lot.
residential area. Yeah,
Yes.
that seems like a lot for
Yeah.
one residential unit.
It would have to be a rather large home, and then it would still have to meet building code requirements. So, you know, there's still minimum square footages for how many people you could put in a room. So if the house is not large enough, they're not gonna have that number in it.
Okay. And there's a number of bathrooms per people or?
Yes.
Okay, things like that.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Gordon, thank you for coming up. How about the audience? Does anybody have any questions out there about any of this? It is a public hearing. You have a right to speak. So, do you have any questions for council?
I do not.
Okay. We'll look at this later on in the meeting for our first reading or whatever council decides.
Okay.
Thank you very much, sir. Okay, then moving on, I'd like to call the council meeting to order. If you'll please stand for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance. Heavenly Father, we come to you today asking for your guidance, wisdom, and support as we begin this meeting. Help us to engage in meaningful discussion, allow us to grow closer to it as a group, and nurture the bonds of community. Fill us with your grace, Lord God, as we make decisions that might affect our staff, employees, and residences of Mount Healthy, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today and all that we accomplish is for the pursuit of truth, for the greater glory of you, and for the service of humanity. We ask these things in your holy name.
Amen.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, welcome to our January 21st, very cold meeting. Well, the meeting's not cold, but the weather is. Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Here.
Mr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Redding?
Here?
Mrs. Dosa?
Here.
Mr. George? Here. Mr. Young?
Here.
Mrs. Rissel?
Okay, all 7 of us are here. That's wonderful. You have the minutes before you from December 7th meeting. The minutes say December 17th. You can correct that if you want. It's December 7th for the minutes.
No, that's right. That's
The seventh.
That was the 7th.
But it says on the agenda, minutes
Oh,
from December
sorry.
17th.
The
Yeah.
agenda, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Should be.
Anyway. Take a moment to look through those minutes, corrections, deletions, misspellings. If there are none, I'd like to ask for a motion to adopt as printed.
Make make a motion to adopt as printed.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adopt as printed.
Second.
Who we missing?
Mr. Parsons has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Correspondence, you have the December police report on your table. And a reminder on the Ohio Ethics Commission filing deadline. Yes, it's that time of year again. Gotta hate that paper. Okay. Guest and special events. Nothing marked, but Chief, did you have something, anything to say?
I'll do it at my report.
Okay. Guest and special events. Anybody here have, like to address council? Public input. Okay, committees and commissions. Beautification Committee, Ms. Lingo.
No report.
You don't want to talk about the pretty snow or anything?
No.
Okay. Economic Development, Mr. Young.
January 14th, Third Century Mount Healthy had a engagement event at the library from 4 to 8. Kind of broke down a 1 to 3, 5, 7, or 3 to 5, 7 to 10 year of different things that'll be going on in the business district and what things will look like. So I'll have more next month after we meet and kind of go through what their findings were on that. So probably next month I'll have a little bit more detail on it. Had a great turnout for us. A lot of people had some great input. So it was a nice event. So that's all I have right now.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young. Any questions? Finance, Mr. Parsons.
No report.
Library, Parks Commission, Ms. Dosa.
Thank you. Library update, I'll start with that first. I apologize for my voice. I'm losing it a little bit. The library is still serving after-school snacks Monday through Friday from 3 to 3:45. Anyone 18 and under is eligible to receive a free snack. The library will have office hours for a winter and resident session. It's for adults on Saturday, January 25th from 2 to 3:30. Mary Kay Carson is going to be hosting that. Mary Kay Carson, her area of expertise is children's nonfictional writing, and she'll be there to answer any questions for aspiring writers. The Writer in Residence program it helps aspiring writers with questions about how to best put their ideas on paper or how to address the challenges that they have with their current writing projects. So I thought that was very neat that the library is hosting those. So that again will be Saturday the 25th from 2 to 3:30. The library is having its 6th winter checkout challenge that started today, and it'll go on until February 28th. The winter checkout challenge is a way to stay active and utilize the library's resources during the winter by completing certain challenges. For example, read a magazine, watch a movie from the library, rent a DVD, or listen to an audiobook, and you mark those off. You can do it online or at the library. And adults can register at any participating library location. And customers who sign up will receive a Friends Warehouse coupon and a coaster when they register and a free mug upon completion. So, and then you're also eligible to be enlisted into or submitted into a grand prize entry, which they didn't tell me what that was. So I apologize, I don't have that information. The after-school behavior issues that were happening at the library is still a current work in progress. But the library has received some extra security support from the library. It's for the time being. So the library has a couple of public safety specialists who come in during the week to help in the afternoons. I spoke with Lacey and she said, the library manager, she stated that they're really trying to communicate effectively to everyone who visits what the standard of behavior for the library is and proactively address any behaviors that they have to avoid them escalating. She said the biggest concern they have been is the fights that break out. She stated that she's hoping the extra security support along with the after-school snacks and programs that they have will help to alleviate some of that. She further stated that, because I asked the question, well, do they have rules set up in place, like on the doors and throughout the library? And she said yes. She said have, they have the behavior of the library standards posted, as well as the expectations on keeping the library, a welcoming and space for everyone to utilize, posted throughout the whole entire library, which I thought was good, just, a gentle but forceful reminder for people that come and utilize the library services in that space. Park update. I know I mentioned about the park bench that we're getting donated. It is completed and it's being stored right now, waiting for warmer weather, for a dedication ceremony and placement. Secondly, I talked to PES about, I've followed up with them about looking for certain pieces for the park, and they may have found a child-friendly for the ages of 2 to 5 slide, but they have to find all the pieces and get back to me about that, and they're looking for other pieces that they may have in their warehouse for the younger age group that we talked about, that for children that may be on the spectrum or for younger age children to utilize at the park. I spoke to Dolores Broselin, who's the program manager for the Ohio Department of Natural Resources. We finally caught up with each other after the holidays and et cetera, and she said that they just finished with awarding contracts, and the next step is feedback to applicants. So within the next, like by the later part of this week or next week, we should receive an email with feedback on our application and things that we can do differently or better to help us in the future. And also, the next round application just posted today on the website. So once we receive that feedback from our last application, we can review that and look at things that will help us and proceed to apply for the upcoming grant, which is due in June. Lastly, I would like to have a park commission meeting on February 18th at 6 p.m. in Chambers before our council meeting, and that's all I have.
Thank you. Ms. Dosta, thank you. Questions?
Did you say the applications will be due in June?
Yes.
Okay.
June 2nd.
It probably won't be decided till October, November.
Correct.
Mr. Redding, you had your hand up?
Yes, February 18th, 6:30?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock, okay. And then I found the brochure that I was telling you about, so I'll get that to you.
Thanks, I appreciate that.
No problem.
Any more questions, council? Okay, thank you. Safety, Mr. Redding.
Yeah, a couple of things. We had a safety/street committee meeting tonight concerning speed humps in the city. We went through the list of streets that we've had traffic counted on and the level of speed broken down by percentages. So again, we went through that list, identified some streets that we think would benefit from speed humps. So we'll continue on that project. And we also are going to look at putting counters down where we have put speed humps in, just to see what impact they're having. So, and then we're gonna put some counters down I would assume in the spring, right, Scott? On streets that we have not done accounts on yet, that may warrant, we need some additional information before we act on it. So, just a real quick count, we have identified 11 potential speed humps initially. So, but I'll get to the rest of the safety committee and streets. I'll get all these notes put together and get a copy to you, just so we can verify. So that's where we are on speed humps. The police report, again, that was, Ross said that was in our packet, and it was. It's important to look at this. This is the year-end one. So a couple of things to note. On page 2, there's a total down there for 2024 of calls for service. So I just want to explain what that is. So that's when there's a call that comes through the comm center to the police department for whatever reason. So that was their call for service. But traffic citations are not calls for service. So those would be people that were pulled over, initiated by our police if they've seen something. And that goes along with traffic warnings and parking certificates. Now, traffic crashes that would be potentially a call for service. So they would, somebody call in about a traffic accident, and you respond to that. So, or else it could be obviously witnessed by the police if they're in the right place at the right time. So, but a pretty big number there. It's gone up a little bit from 2023, about 450. So anyway, I just thought that that was interesting. And then, you know, we're still struggling a little bit with Clovernook Apartments. They were 9.6% of the total calls for service. So not the total overall calls, but calls for service. So the concern is down there is that I know there's good people that live at Clovernook Apartments, and, you know, they deserve to have and enjoy the same kind of safe, you know, area that we do that live throughout the city. So more work to do on that. So anyway, that is all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Redding. Questions? Okay, schools, Mr. George.
No report, but school is canceled again tomorrow. This may impact the duration of the school year. I don't know where they're at on that yet, but it's usually how it works.
It is awful cold in the mornings.
Yeah.
I don't want to go out.
A lot of walkers in the community too, so that's the main reason, and transportation.
Okay, thank you. Questions, Mr. George? Streets, Ms. Rissel.
Actually, we kind of went over everything tonight with the safety meeting, but I would like to call a meeting together with the safety committee to finalize what we have already touched on this evening. I think that would be a good idea. Whenever you get those together,
Yeah, I can have them together for the first,
that's fine.
for the first meeting of February. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
At 6 up here.
We're having an afterward thing at that meeting.
What is that?
We're having something after that meeting, so that'd be an awful long night.
That's the presentation from,
The only thing we should have on the agenda for council would be the second reading of the code stuff that we're going to go over. So I mean, it should be a short council meeting. So could even out. I don't know.
Okay, but human nature's coming in
Yep.
yeah,
afterward. Okay.
Human Nature and.
And yard.
And Yard and Company. Yep.
Whatever you want to do.
Okay, anything else?
Yeah, it's fine with me.
Okay, on the 4th, then at 6 o'clock here.
Is that the street committee and the safety committee?
Yeah. I'll sleep in the next day. I'm retired. Oh. Isn't that fun, Ross?
Yeah, but I never know what day of the week it is.
No, yeah. If we're not here, you know why, we got it mixed up.
Okay, let's move on. Mayor's report, Ms. Moody.
Yes, just have a few things to kind of talk a little bit about what Mr. Young brought up. So the library event was nice to be able to have it in our new library, and there were a lot of people that attended. I was a guest of Third Century's board meeting that following the Thursday, and it was nice in that they talked about the feedback that they had received and also kind of self-critique how maybe they could do it better next time, which was, I thought, very, very good to be able to do that. So that was a successful discussion. Metro came also that night and talked about mostly what we've been hearing so far about the plans and what will be coming. So I think that was very informative for Third Century, and knowing that Metro's been in contact and has been working with communicating with Yard and Company and Human Nature so that things kind of get coordinated together for the betterment of our city and, you know, going down Hamilton Avenue. I attended the We Thrive meeting, and there was, we finished an assessment that they do. I'm trying to think, they don't do it every year, but they do it every few years. And the last two modules they did tonight was traffic transportation safety module in social and community context. And I thought it was interesting in that some of it, it does not really apply to us, and some of it is done like through the county. But I saw some things here that I think maybe in the future we could discuss and address that maybe would enhance some of the services or information that we could give to our residents. For example, providing a child's safety seat installation that maybe people could come up once a month, or we advertise it. I know the fire department does help with people. I don't know if people realize that, if maybe we could say that we do have that availability. I know at Trinity they have a Kate's Cupboard. They do large distribution of car seats. We do not tell people how to put the car seats in, but we do refer them to their local fire department if they need help in an installation. Also, providing education on importance of wearing helmets when you're riding a bike. I mean, just things like that, that just brings to your attention maybe some things in the future we could do. I will say that I was very pleasing to hear people, that a few people in the community there that gave a lot of positive feedback as to what they see the police officers proactively doing some things. And, you know, the fire department was at the open house for the library. So it was informative, and I'm glad that I was able to glean some information that maybe in the future we can kind of look at how to enhance some of the things that we could probably get help with. I know there is a Put a Lid on It grant that they might be looking into, where you get free helmets that you can give out to kids that ride their bicycles. So just little things like that that maybe could just make a difference for our residents. They also talked a little bit about planning and brainstorming, some things in the future. There's always a chalk contest up at the high school where the artists up there, we're trying to coordinate that in the spring they could come down and do some of those drawings with the students down in our area in the city, maybe at the library, some locations to kind of highlight the program that they've done for years up there. And it's amazing what they've been able to produce up there, kind of bringing it down in the community so we can enjoy it also. Talked about potential community walking group. We do have a small group of residents that are trying to enhance and make bigger the Mulberry Festival that they kind of started. So they talked a little bit about that. I believe they're coming to the park meeting to talk a little bit about the planning stages. So that was it for We Thrive. And then the last thing I just want to say is kind of a personal thing, but it is impacting our community. So I am a member of Trinity Lutheran Church, and we have a choir. And we had a Christmas concert. It wasn't this past year, but the year before. We do sponsor CCM doctoral students. Last Friday, we were informed that we've been invited to sing at Carnegie Hall.
Oh, wow.
December 1st, 2025, with choirs all over the world. So we're a little worried because it's like us humble, but we will be with maybe 200 people. So right now we're strategizing. We'll be talking to a tour company about how we get there. And we're looking at, I don't know how many people we've initially talked to the choir. So it's kind of I would never think my voice would be at Carnegie Hall. I mean, it does not qualify Carnegie Hall. But I am in the choir, and we have an amazing music director. And so what happened is that what we had purchased for our choral group, which we probably learned like 15 songs, the woman that did that, who's very well known internationally as a sacred music conductor and composer, it happened to be her music, and we put everything that we do at Trinity on YouTube, and she happened to Google her music with choirs in the country that utilize, and we came up. Then she asked for another tape of what we've done, and it was like, I just can't tell you that we were all like, what? It's hard to believe. So we are very excited, and we're kind of overwhelmed. So we will be practicing starting in October. And the music that what we will be singing for this, we will also do a concert up at Trinity later on in December. So that was kind of exciting for us. It's good positive press for Mount Healthy, too. So
Absolutely.
just wanted to say.
Thank you, Mayor.
Practice, practice, practice.
Yeah, that's for sure. No trips
Yeah.
from October to December, except to go to New York.
Yeah.
Any questions for the mayor? Okay, moving on then to the city manager's report, Mr. Bauer.
I got a few things here. I'm sure everyone's noticed red line has finally come down. There should be a little bit of debris left. Don't have a time on it exactly when it'll all be completely removed and taken away, but they are going to take down the base. There's a nicely poured concrete pad in the back that will stay just because it's in really good condition, but pretty much everything else should be turned to grass. So, and then that same machine will eventually be moved a couple blocks north, take down Antique Mall. I'm not going to give any more time frames for when it should happen because I thought it was going to happen before the end of last year, but things get in the way. But hopefully soon that'll come down as well. Let's see. Aggregation, I did sign off on the second 12 months. The rate will be 5.94 was what the finalized rate would be. I think we were kind of hoping it would go the other way. The first 9 months or first 12 months were under 5, I think.
4.9.
Yeah, 4.9. So was hoping it would go the other direction, but that's at least set for the next 12 months. There's a few more grants that have come available through the county that I'll be applying for the next couple months. Potentially a few $100,000 that can go towards economic development, facade improvements. It can be stabilizing or buying property, but just general economic impact. Let's see, Justin is hoping to get his Bobcat this week. Melanie, maybe you know this. Is the Tahoe getting striped? Is that where? Because I don't think okay.
Yeah.
We have our new Tahoe for the police department, but it's out getting striped. Let's see here. We did start our rental registration program officially, so letters have gone out, already received a few checks, a few questions on how it works. Seems to be going well. So if anyone asks any questions, they can call City Hall or email the feedback at Mount Healthy email address. Let's see. It was in the police report, but Austin Jones started. He graduated last Friday, started just yesterday. That's exciting for the police department. Let's see here. We kind of mentioned the yard and human nature meeting next council meeting. Just keep that in mind. Keisha, you mentioned the library. And I can't remember if you said this in your report, but the police are planning to do a police detail. I think Monday through Friday, roughly from it's like 2 to 6 or something like that, kind of right after school gets out, just to make sure, just to have a presence there. So hopefully that will help things as well. And then my last item here, I think, property maintenance. I mentioned that Bill Knight has left Mount Healthy. I think my plan, I think this is what will end up happening, is that we'll do a police detail for property maintenance. The sort of the dollars and cents of it kind of work out that I think it could even potentially be cheaper, just 1 4-hour shift a week. They would go out and look for, trash, high grass, cars parked illegally, anything like that. But they would if there was an emergency, they would respond to it. But generally, they'd be focused on that for 4 hours per week. Then we would still do a lot of the administrative letters in-house. Either Jen or Kathy downstairs or myself could help do that side. We'll see how that goes if we can make it work internally. That's all that I have.
Thank you, Mr. Bauer. Questions, council?
Just a quick one for
Okay.
Scott at the end. I mean, so it's with the police taking that over, I get that they'll be like the main thrust, but so for anybody else that works for the city, if you see something, say something, right?
Yep.
Okay.
That would be the goal. If it's public works, police, fire, anybody that's out, if people would call or email all the time if there's a issue. So yeah, use that feedback at Mount Healthy email address, or just call City Hall. Either is fine, and we can take care of it. So.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see how it works. 4 hours a week doesn't sound like enough. But we'll see.
Yep.
Another question, JMA, can you get that report about the
cutoff? Yep.
What is the list of projects that were accepted?
Yep.
And where we fell on that as soon as possible?
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Okay. Moving on then to the fire chief, Mr. Lawson.
Good evening. So, have the 2024 inspection breakdown. As you guys can see, the mercantile and goods businesses are 24, daycare is 14, independent living 3, assisted living 4, churches 1. We did 46 total inspections last year, with just 3 inspectors. Just a little breakdown on when we go out and do an inspection, we call and we make an appointment to go to the business to do the inspection. We get there, we do the inspection, and we look to see what is the most dangerous part. Like, for example, if they have wires that need to be addressed right away, exit signs and other things, kind of put on the back burner because they need to get the exit or the electrical problem fixed first. So once they do that, then we'll kind of like give them a plan to where they can come up to code, up the fire code. So if we go there and it's just like exit signs, or they need aisleways need to be 36 inches, etc. Minor stuff, we'll usually give them 30 days to make the repairs. And then we will go back and do a reinspection, and they got everything done, then we'll sign off on it and file it and for the next time. If they don't have the stuff done, we will give them another 30 days, and they don't get it done after that 30 days, then that's where we're going to have to get into fines. And with the city manager and us, we're trying to get through that so we can go and ticket a business that is not cooperating with the fire department and the fire inspections. So then in 2025, we finally have 2 more fire inspectors. So that gives us 5. So what the lead fire inspector did is he broke that down to 4 of the inspectors have already received 38 inspections, and the captain of inspections will have 44. And also, and those are usually more difficult inspections that he's going out to do. And once we get our other personnel through medic school, they will become inspectors. So one day, hopefully, we'll have 9 inspectors. And we should really be able to turn the inspection bureau around to our favor and get the city and all the fire violations fixed. So then on the next page was the 2024 EMS incident report. You can see we end up doing 1,801 runs. We transported 1,053 of those patients to local hospitals. You can see mutual aid given. We had 182 that we gave, and we did 146 that we received. So given means that we went to their community to help them out. Received meaning they came into us to help us out. Then on the fire reports, we end up doing 209 total fires, and then we had 82 of the departments. We gave them mutual aid, and 41 times we received mutual aid. You can see there's 20 structure or building fires, but of those 20, there was only 3 that were here in Mount Healthy. Wow. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Chief. Questions, ladies and gentlemen, council members?
Yeah, I got a question. On these inspections, you say the 4 inspectors have 38 and the captain has 44, so that's 82 you'll be doing in 2025? Okay, good. And how is your staffing going?
We just, the applications cutoff was this past Friday, and we received 4 applications. The test date will be January 30th at 7 o'clock at the community center
For one position?
for one
Is
position.
that a new position?
Yes,
All our other ones are filled?
yes.
And you're managing to keep four staffed at all times?
That's what we were trying to do.
Yeah. Most of the time you're doing it?
It's starting to improve, yes.
Okay, good.
And with this next career person coming, it's really going to help out.
Good. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Question, sir.
Yes, Mr. Redding.
Chief, are you able to talk about the occupancy issues that you ran into at this time, or is that something you want to say for later?
Well, we did, we had the police called us 1 o'clock Sunday morning to go down to the place, it used to be Pit the Plate, for occupancy. Firefighters went in there and could see that it was crowded. The occupancy is only 99, and so they had everybody come out. They counted up to 138 and said, okay, we're going to close you down. And the owner, I think he has, because there's a indoor occupancy and then there's a outdoor occupancy. But he can't take those two numbers and put them all inside the bar restaurant area. You can only have 99. That's per the fire code. So hopefully he complies. If not, we'll have to do the same thing over.
Okay, and you're doing these checks based upon request by what the police observe?
Yes, yes.
And so, and they're random, whatever the police observe
Correct.
on that specific night?
Yeah, they'll.
As long as you have
Yeah, they
the-
said that they had parking and other, cars parking in other parking lots, walking up the street. And so they gave us a call and went down and said, hey, you can't have this many people, so we're going to shut you down.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Both
Moving
the-
on to ordinances. Did you have a question?
No, I was just going to say both the fire and police for a job well done. It's good to know that, once these businesses know that they're being watched more carefully, all businesses, then whether it's with inspections or with occupancy counts, and hopefully they'll be more apt to,
Yeah, I do have one more thing. So Reminisce down in the Hilltop Plaza, he was arguing about how many people he can have in his business, and he was way overcrowded. So we went down there, talked with him, and explained to him about what the fire code, how it's written, and why we have 99 people and not 150 people in an area that can only handle 99 people. And he argued and argued, so we finally said, okay, you get an architect to prove us wrong, and we'll change it. Well, the architect said, hey, they're right, so it stands.
so 99's the number, or?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Great, thank you.
If you decide there can only be 10 people in council, I'll leave.
100 and
There it is posted.
Okay, on to ordinances and resolutions. We have no second readings on either ordinance or resolution, but we do have one new ordinance. That is ordinance number 25-2061.
I would like to make note that this is the incorrect name. My name.
We noticed that over here.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Apologies.
We talk, yeah,
Ask in favor of your mother.
talking about the zoning code
Yeah.
ordinance.
Okay.
I didn't have a number on mine. What is it?
I didn't either, 26.
What's the number on that?
25-2061.
2061.
95, 25 dash 2061.
I don't know.
Okay, I'm going to take a deep breath and see if I can get through this. An ordinance to amend sections 155-022, 155-032, 155-042, and 155-08, schedule of use tables, 155.128, inspections and maintenance, and 155.21, definitions of the Mount Healthy zoning code of ordinances.
So this would just formalize kind of what Gordon just presented up there. If we have more questions for him, I mean, can bring him back if we need to, but there's no rush for it. You know, it doesn't need to be a single reading, or if you feel you want changes to it, just let me know, and I'll get that cover page updated to the right George. So.
Any questions or comments, council?
First reading?
First reading?
First reading would be good, yes.
Yep.
Okay, no other questions on that?
This Gene's not here.
Okay, that is all the ordinances and resolutions. Old business. New business.
One question. We all received our W-2s in the mail, didn't we?
Yes.
Yes.
Will they be corrected?
Yeah, they should be out,
What was it?
tomorrow.
Is that just for elected officials or
It was just for the council
just for
group.
council?
Yeah.
Okay.
The monthly pays.
The numbers weren't wrong, they just left a couple things off. So they'll be mailed out tomorrow, mailed out this week?
Yeah, should be.
Thank you.
Wasn't even aware of it.
I didn't look at
Wasn't
it.
aware of it.
I was gonna say, I didn't even look at it.
It's not that important, there's just, well, especially, there's one thing with a check mark for, that we have a retirement plan, and it wasn't checked, but that's kind of important to the IRS.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I haven't even looked at mine yet. Haven't even opened it, sorry.
Denise?
Put it
I'd
in
like
my
to make a
2024.
motion to adjourn.
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? Ms. Rissel? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you, council.